Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at detectrader.com. It's Saturday, November the 25th. Hope you guys are enjoying your holiday and another solid week in Wall Street. This is one of the best rallies I've seen in a long, long time, folks. I mean, years. When you take a look at the percentage gain on the S&P in just a month, as well as the NDX, check this out. So on Friday, October 27th, that's less than a month ago, we had a low of 41.03 on the S&P. Thursday's high, 45.68. 465 points. Anyway, you look at it, it's about 11-12%, 11.5%, something like that in a month. Pretty amazing. And look at that run up right near the high from July. It hit 46.07. We're not quite there yet, but nevertheless, this zone of resistance and also the gap here at 45.50 is right in this resistance zone. So we're up in resistance, and either one of two things happens here. Obviously, we blow through and continue the momentum, or we pull back. And it wouldn't shock me if we pull back and consolidate in this area. Actually, I'd prefer that, kind of like fortify the pattern and set it up for a better upside. You can see the unbalanced volume line has been just stellar during this rally, as strong as anything we've seen. And so the bottom line is we're at resistance, we're overbought, but we have very, very strong momentum. Here's the Nasdaq 100, which is even stronger technically. When I say technically, I'm talking about the percent gain. We went from 14,058 to 16,119. That's over 2,000 points. From a low of 14,000, 2,000 points is, it's about 14%. So 11% in the S&P, 14% in the NDX in a month. Pretty powerful. And the NDX has taken out the high from July. As a matter of fact, it's the highest level we reached on the NDX since, I think it's early 22. Let's take a little look at it. Yeah, about 2 years ago. So, there's no question there's resistance up here. And coming off the low, it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, long 4 with 5 waves in wave 4. If this is the beginning of 5th wave, it started off with a bang, didn't it? Where can we go? It's possible, although I'm not saying that's probable, but it's possible if we get above 17,000, the market could go vertical to 19,000. I'm not looking for 19,000 necessarily, or 3,000 points or 20% more. But if we do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move, and we do kind of a stair step move up, and let's just say this is wave 1. Wave 2 may be coming, and if it does, it may result in a third wave, which could get you up to 17,000, and then a fourth and a fifth wave could get you in the 18-19 zone at some point. This is, again, longer term projections. And don't forget, we've come a long way. Let's look at the transportation index, which we really, basically in Dow theory, the transportation must confirm the Dow, etc. Now, I don't follow the Dow, and I never will. I don't think 30 stocks are as representative as 500 or even 100. But looking at the transportation index, we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave decline, followed by a 1, 2, 3, and this is wave 4. If we get a fifth wave, we may get up towards 16,000, give or take. That's about 1,000 or 900,000 points more. So again, the projections are very positive for year-end rally if we can get an extension here. The small cap indices. Oh, and by the way, I do want to point out that we finally broke out to confirm the other indexes. This is a trailing index. Just take a look at it one more time. You can see how strong the NDX and the S&P was compared to the transportation index, which didn't even confirm by breaking out across this declining top sign at 50-day moving averages, which it's done, consolidated above, and then edged higher. I would say the transportation index takes out 15.175 or so. We may be headed to 15.7, 15.9 zone. The small cap index, also similar to the transportation, with a 5-wave decline, a pop, and a breakout. Now, this looks like a little left shoulder, head right shoulder with a downsloping neckline. It's possible. Either way, it's a V bottom with a right hand extension, a breakout, and a wedge. Very bullish, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm looking for a fifth wave to 190, 91, 92. So we could get a year-end blow-off type rally into early January, which I've seen so many times in my career. And then around January 8th to 12th in that time zone, invariably the market will turn down and we'll have a bad January, February, maybe. I mean, this is all conjecture, and you just don't know what the market gives you, and you always got to take what the market gives you, and not try to trade what you think. You got to trade what you see. All right, so there's those indices. Let's take a look at the major technical indicators underlying those indices. The oscillator, by the way, has shown that we went up to +1. This is early in the month when the market first exploded, with two gaps getting into a resistance zone that we've seen over the last few years caused the market to pull back. So we got a pop to +179. That 179 is the highest reading that we've seen since back in April of last year. I'm sorry, April of this year, at which point we reached +182.77. So, but you can see in that zone, the market's pulled back. So, but here, this time, the market's gone into, the oscillator's gone into a consolidation zone, which is kind of interesting. And on Friday alone, it bounced from +57 to +112, and actually got up to 119, closed about 112 and change. So you can see that we're moving in a direction that is trending towards overbought. It's extremely overbought. I'd love to see the market get up to 250 and then on a blow off, and that would signal to me a top's in place or imminent. The percentage of stocks above their 40 dramatically increased in the last month. Take a look at this. On October 27th, when the market was at its low, this was about 14. It went to +65. It's flagging. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you don't really analyze oscillators like you do regular indices, the regular stocks and indices, because they just don't apply the same way. Nevertheless, if we can get this up to +75 to 90 in that zone, and get that the oscillator to +200, 250, and get the VIX down towards, we're already at a place I want to point out to you, where in the last 4 years, anytime we got down towards 12-ish, 11.5, we were in a complacent period. Although there were times prior to that, where this thing got down to 8, 9 zone. So if we get anywhere down in single digits, high single digits, 8, 9, 10, 11 in that area, and we get the oscillator +250, and we get the percent of stocks up in that 80, 85, 90 zone, it's pretty much the market is overbought to a point where we need to be real careful and maybe pull back on our positions and protect ourselves. So we'll get there, and when we do, I'll let you know. At this point, I want to show you the Apple of the Nasdaq 100 components, and we'll start off with Apple. As you can see, Apple had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave decline, basically wave stuff, reversed, broke out, ran, and even broke out a secondary resistance. The only thing left for Apple is to retest the 198 range, which is all-time high territory, post-split, of course. But you can see that on 3 out of 5 days last week, I wouldn't say 3 out of 5 because we only had 4 days, but twice last week on Tuesday and Thursday, Apple was actually down. And right now it's kind of on support or near support, minor support. So Apple could be vulnerable to a pullback, but the next extension target is 197 if we do get a kind of blow off market. What about Amazon? Powerful look to it. Check this out. Folks, this is the highest level we've seen in Amazon in about a year and a half. And you can see that the base pattern, the breakout, pullback, a 3-wave corrective pullback, and then a move back up to the high and through it slightly. It tells me that Amazon is poised to pop and run towards at least 168.70 zone. That's the next target, and that's 22 to 24 point. That could lead the market higher if it does that. Always be cognizant of support. On Amazon right now, your support is right about 139.5, 140. Okay, nice setup though. Google. And you can see Google's been a steady uptrend since it got creamed, I believe, on earnings in October. Breakaway downside gap, follow through gap, and then in the break of support, and it looked like this is going to hell in a handbasket. And this little rally in here looked very bearish. Notice the volume receded as a stock rally, but here's the key on this one. Across this level is where it broke back out again, and it just kept going to the point where it retested 142.38 high from October 12th, getting up to 141.10 within a point. It pulled back on Friday, but it's still within a channel rise. And you break out on Google above that area, and you probably test the all-time high zones at about 150 to 52 zone. So if we're going to get a blow-off year-end rally, I would expect to see Amazon and Google possibly lead the way. We'll see. Microsoft has been very strong and one of the strongest stocks in Wall Street, let alone in the Nasdaq 100. But this is probably as strong as anything. Nearly making new all-time highs every day. I think the all-time high was reached 379.79. 379.79 was a high. All-time high reached on Wednesday, inside day Friday. But you can see that where this could be projecting to, it would be phenomenal move up towards 450 now. I'm not saying it's going that high, but I could see 390.95 short term. And then there's Netflix, which really surprisingly is acting phenomenal here after this breakaway gap and the hold of the gap. That breakout of the declining top line and then a breakthrough lateral price resistance now to test the July high. July high was 485 even. The high Wednesday, 482.70. You can see we're up against resistance on a lot of these stocks. So the market is vulnerable to a potential pullback after such a big run, but the momentum is phenomenal too. So I can't tell whether we're going to continue this run immediately or pull back first and then maybe have a year-end rally. It's very possible, since we're only after Thanksgiving before December 1st, we could have a few days of pullback consolidation and then have a December Santa Claus type rally. Hard to say, but right now the trend is your friend. The trend is definitely up on all of these stocks, except for one, and believe it or not, it's NVIDIA. Now the trend is up still, but let's take a look at the short term. After testing the double top from August, the high was 502. It made a nominal new high at 505.5. Closed 477.71. Down the last 3 days of the week. Increasing volume. I would not want to see NVIDIA, a market leader, go below this zone, because that could plunge it right down to 445. That would be about a 50% fib retracement as well. So it's possible we see that. I'd hate to see it certainly in the midst of if we do have a solid run from the rest of them. We'll have to just see. I did want to point out Meta, that is also broken through a double top. Not quite all-time high territory yet. That would be back here at about 384. So we have room to go. But you can see that it's broken through a double top and it's trending higher. Your next target is 354. The culprit, as I said, was NVIDIA for now, because of what's going on with China and shipping chips to China, etc., and trade restrictions. So that's NVIDIA. And what about Tesla? Well, it was weak here, but boy, it's come back, hasn't it? Little inverse head and shoulder breakout platform or wedge. If the big problem with the Tesla is it's got a declining top line. It comes in around 250. So there's a possibility if the market does rally and Tesla breaks out above this zone, we could see 250, even 260. This high here was 260, almost 69. So why not get that one up near 270? The breakdown comes if it takes out the platform below 226.5. So you can see Tesla and NVIDIA weaker than the rest. And they're really important stocks for the Nasdaq 100. And I'm not saying the market can't go higher without them, but it would be difficult if they didn't at least somewhat participate. Okay, so that's a look at the Nasdaq 100 generals that I follow closely, and also the underlying technicals. Let's look at some of the major ETFs we follow. Usually semiconductors are in the forefront, and take a look at this run on the SMH after a 5-wave decline. Looks a lot like the NDX because they're most of the components. This has gone from 136 to 165, about 29 points. more than about 22% in just a month. 22% on an index in a month like that. So looking at the long term, you can see the double top up in the 159.5 area. This one hit 161. So 159, 161 is your zone, and look where it did on Friday, a new all-time high, 165.44. So it's telling me that if the SMH wants to lead, it's going to move upward near 200. Now, I don't know if it does that, but we can go somewhere halfway, maybe 175.80 area, and then maybe pull back. But if we pull back first, the support is down around 152.3. And there is a gap support here on 159. So we'll have to just see what the market wants to do, of course. SMH leading the way, but how about financials? Look at this. With interest rates, with the theory that interest rates are peaking and that may be coming down next year, the market always anticipates the future by 6 to 9 months in advance. Always. You can see we had a 1, 2, 3, 4 perfect 5-wave decline with a V bottom, double bottom here, and then a run-up flag and a pop breakaway gap and a run through the declining tops line to get up towards resistance from the September rally high, which was about 69.25. Friday's high, 69.32. Perfect double top. Well, we'll see if we break through it. 76 is your next target. And if the market's going to go higher immediately, that's what you'll probably see on the FAS. So with the SMH, I just showed you in good shape, but at resistance, and the FAS at resistance, and in good shape after the declining top line that has been broken. We turn our attention to biotechs. Biotechs have been lagging, but this V bottom with a right-handed extension and a retest, almost a V bottom, a W bottom, sorry. Breakaway gap, platform hold, pop to resistance. I think it's important that the XBI takes out 75. If you see that next week, look for 79, maybe 81. But that's your target zone for the XBI should the market get into a rally mode. I mean, extend the rally mode. So that's a close look at some of the major ETFs we follow, but I do want to also look at oil. USO, not looking pretty, but it's possible, just possible, folks. This is a left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. 100% stop under 68.75 there. And we're still under the declining top line, which each time we get up to it, it backs off. So the key is if USO breaks out, 74 is your target. You get through that, and you're looking at 76. The overall pattern shows that obviously oil had this huge run from 2000 to 2002, and then a 1-year pullback kind of falling channel breakout and retest now. I'm not high on oil and gas at all at this point, but any breakout on this above 74, and maybe we turn the corner on the price of oil. I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of cross currents going on with oil. UCL looks the same. And on the other side of the coin, SCO, forming some sort of base, trying to break out. But you can see how choppy and sloppy. Breakaway gap up, breakaway gap up, down, back up. I mean, it's forming some sort of diamond formation. It's called a diamond formation. I'll show it to you. Which often is a top. I'm not saying it's a top in this and that oil is going higher, but should we break out of a 20, this could be 22 or more, and then maybe in a new uptrend. So, which would mean that oil's on a further downtrend. Just want to give you a flare for what that looks like. Gas has been very strong until recently when it got some big profit taking. As a result, the KOLD, ultra bear, ultra short, I should say, went from 44 to 74, 30 points in a month. It broke out across a triple quadruple top with a breakaway gap and now stalled at this gap. If we have any extension further upside, looking at 87 to 92 zone. That would mean natural gas is plunging. We'll see. And gold, well, not bad at all. I still like this little inverse head and shoulders on the GDX. We had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave decline, followed by a pop to resistance and a pullback to form an inverse head and shoulders. If you see GDX over 30, 30, 20, I think we're in a new bull phase for gold. Here's what the JNUG looks like. Similar but different. It's a V bottom and right-handed extension with a triple top here. Got to get that one. If early next week we see that, nugget, and all of which look like they're poised, we may have a real strong phase starting in precious metals, gold, and silver. Now let's look at silver. As you know, AGQ has been a favorite of mine. There's a V bottom or right-hand extension that popped to resistance right to the declining top line. The next target on this one, 32.5, and then 36.5. Currently 28.83. Keep an eye on AGQ, and if you're so inclined, SLV is another one. Very similar V bottom right-hand extension breakout at the declining top line. This one projects to 24, 26. We'll just have to see. I don't like the SLB as much as I like AGQ. So that's it. Gold and silver, oil and gas, and the commodity group we follow closely. We have about 100 stocks to go over. Let's take a look at AAOI, for example, which had a beautiful 5-way move up and then a falling wedge before it broke out, retested, popped, and now it's had a 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, I'm seeing a lot of 4-wave moves, and if we can get a 5th wave blow off into the end of the year or beginning of January, this might very well be 16, 18, 19. Up next, Archer Aviation coming through an inverse head and shoulder after a decline, but take a look at the long-term chart. Double bottom, breakout, and multiple wave move up, which saw it go from $1.75 to 7.5, 5-fold. And then this. Recently, the breakout, then a pullback. My targets are 7.5, 9.5, and 11.5. Individual gold stock AEM, that's Agnico Eagle, one of my favorites. Inverse head and shoulder is perfectly formed. Targets are 54.5 and 61. Affirm holdings. Like the triple bottom breakout and then this consolidation in 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th wave has a 1, 2 in my opinion, and looks like we're going to 30, 32. Note the current flag pattern. AGI Alamos Gold. I'm pointing this out to you because how many gold stocks do you know right now are at 10-year highs? This one is. So this indicates to me a relative strength leader. So something to watch. It's new for me, probably not for some of you, but AGI gets up through this zone. We're looking at the possibility of a stock that could really move maybe in the high teens or better. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a big 5th wave could take you at least up there. Let's go to a weekly chart so you can see this. I would look for a move up towards 19. Okay. Moving on, AGQ we showed you. AMD, well, look, folks, we had a perfect move off the low, multiple waves, 5 waves, and then pullback. In the long-term pattern, you can see the stock has been a monster since 2016, and it's now projecting crazy $500 numbers, but it may split before that. Anyway, what I want to see in a short-term basis is a move above, what, 130 or so. There's lateral price resistance in there. So we'll see where this goes, especially if it gets above the June high, about 130. ANF has been a phenomenal retailer and one of the better retail stock charts of the last few years, in my opinion. How about 14 to 74? That's 5-fold increase just in a year, folks, in maybe 14 months. My projection is 80, 82. APLS, V bottom, breakaway gap, we put a swing on it, reached a swing target, pulled back, it's coiling for months now. What you really want to see is whether this can get back over this level across there. That's about 50, 51. Then your target's going to be 58.9. AUTL. Love this base pattern. 1 year in the making, a breakout. Extension targets are 5.5 and 7. BridgeBio, beautiful base pattern, breakaway pop, coil, explosive breakaway gap. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like the fifth wave may be starting with a little flag in here. Targets are 30, 5.5 and 42. I noticed this last weekend when I put it on my list. This is the ETF for the dry bulk shipping group. It's called BDRY. Look at that nice multiple month base breakout and run up. Extension targets are 8, 8.25, 9, 9.25, 10.5, 3/4. Little BLDE. This is Blade Urban. What a wonderful long-term decline, multiple month, I should say. And then it moved from about 210 to nearly 4. It almost doubled, and then pulled back. Orderly, low volume, good technicals. It just feels like this could be at least 4.5 to 5.25. Friday cut was an engulfing reversal day. Volume wasn't big, but if it gets any kind of volume, it could blow. Keep an eye on BLDE. Blink exploded, falling wedge, and when it popped out, I put a swing on it. I believe it's on the verge of a retest of 4.5, maybe 5 3/4. BRBR, I've been showing you this stock for 6 months. It's literally gone from 20 to 50. Longer term, beautiful long-term chart shows a move towards mid-50s. BTC, that's Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin. You can see the run up, the wedge, and the breakout on Friday. Bitcoin may test 40 as early as next week. CBAY, beautiful long-term chart, beautiful, and still going. New multi-year highs. But I have a target in the mid-20s now. If you like this one, this is a tech trader swing. CCJ, the leading purveyor of uranium, Cameco, and a phenomenal chart. Look at this. In 3.5 years, it's gone from 5 to 45. 9-fold increase. And it doesn't look done yet. Targeting 50 and 58. CECO, environmental. A beautiful long-term chart. Big base. Run up. Currently flagging. Don't think it's done yet. Looking for mid-20s. CLS, beautiful chart. Breakaway gap, rising channel, target 30, 32. CLSK, in the crypto world, that's a breakout on Friday. Wanted to show you that. Targeting 6 3/4, 7 3/4, and higher. COCO Vita, or Vita COCO. Snapback, and it's coiled above the moving averages, always a good sign. My projection says 40, first 33, and 39.40. COUR, educational training services, really strong near 20 now. Look at the base breakout, and it looks like the extension target could get you up near mid-20s. CRNX, beautiful base, breakaway gap, pull back. We put a swing on it. It hasn't done much for a couple of months, but boy, Friday it did break out. Now I'm projecting 37 at 41. CRISPR, this is a great swing for us. It broke out, we put a swing on it. It popped, it pulled back, it popped again and pulled back, but I don't think it's done. And if it does what I think it can do, we're looking at mid-80s, folks. Clearwater Analytics, nice overall chart pattern, rising channel, little flag, looking for more, 23 and 25. In the water group, Consolidated Water is in a great looking channel. I think we're looking at 42. Electronics, look at this chart. Just keep pushing up. It's literally gone from $1.50 to 12 and change. The top of the channel projection is 14. 3D Systems, I think it broke out Friday, folks. I should have put a swing on it. Based when I looked back at this, I said, yeah, that's a swing for me. My targets are 7 and 8. Dell. Well, Dell was put out when it popped out, and then it put a long consolidation, but it's now moving. I mean, moving nicely. My target's 84. DraftKings, been a long-term swing for us. It's still working. Beautiful breakout and rising channel. Looks to me like 44.5 and then 50 would be targets for that. How about the momentum on DRCT? Breakaway gap and just explode. It gapped up at 328 and has gone to almost 9. It doesn't look done yet either. Each little pullback is followed by an immediate pop-up. 10, 12 targets. Duolingo, beautiful breakaway gap and rising wedge with an extension target of 235 and 50. EDIT broke through a triple top, spiked up to near resistance. It's got a little wedgie forming. We can get to 11 3/4, which is my near-term target, 14 secondary. EDU, the educational stock in China, what a monster move this has made from the high single digits to the mid 70s in the last year and a half. The target now is 100 and 125. This little junior gold stock, EGO, and a 5-wave decline breakout retest is moving up nicely. It's near resistance, but my target for an extension is 14. In the crypto world, ETHE breaks out of a coil and is just running. I got a $22 target on that one. VIGs popped, pulled back, and popped again. We put a swing on it, then we tested. Now it's moving up nicely. If I can get this above 7, and a quarter, we should see 8 and 10. FRO in the shipping group, really strong. Current pattern says 26 next. GBTC in the crypto world, along with ETHE, these two are moving with Bitcoin and obviously the crypto stock. 36 target next. GEO, this is the tech trader swing. It popped out of the base, then retested, and then started to move up. And it's moved slowly but steady from 8 to almost 10. My targets are 11 and 12 and a half. In the shipping group, a lacquer that's coming on here, Friday breakout, GNK, something to keep an eye on. We have FRO, C-Bulk, we have several other shippers that look good, but this one may be coming on here, something to keep your eye on. My targets are 17 and 1990. GOGL, that's the other shipper that just broke out last week and is going vertical, perhaps 9.5 and 10 3/4 targets. Junior silver gold stock, Harmony Gold Mining, targeting 7.5. Looks like it's breaking out of a beautiful inverse head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, rounding bottom, whatever you want to call it. I think we're headed to 7. HRTG, this little low price insurance company, has gone from 1 to 8 and change, and it looks like it isn't done yet. We might see 12. IDYA, really like the look of this one. Breakout last week on Friday, reaching 33. Extension targets 35. INDI. Well, some of the junior semiconductors are coming on now that the semiconductor group has improved. This one popped out and ran up nicely and is holding. And that extension target is 8.5 and 10. Intel, obviously, semiconductor has been somewhat of a leader in the last month. It's gone from 32 to 44. That was my target, 44, 45. Next target is 51. Iovance, coming out of a declining top sign through the moving averages and now stalled in here, but it's consolidating beautifully, targeting 8, 9.5. Jax Pacific, look at this one. This is a major toy distributor, I understand. Great long-term chart. I have a target of 36 on this one. It just broke out and is in a rising flag. Look at that strength. So KNTE, a junior biotech, exploded out of its declining top line, moving averages, went up to resistance, backed off with a perfect wedge. It may have popped out on Friday. Keep an eye on this one. If volume comes into it, once we get past 2 3/4, we're looking for 3.5 and 4.5. Showed you KOLD earlier. KTOS, aerospace companies, have a beautiful rising channel. Extension targets are 20.5 and 22. LFMD, a tech trader swing after it broke out here, has been moving steadily higher. Technicals aren't great, but the price is holding. My target is 10 3/4, 9 and 10 3/4. LMB in a beautiful rising channel, and you can see how long it's been in a beautiful rising channel for like a year and 3 months. After breaking out 2 weeks, a week and a half ago, it's flagging in here. My targets are high 40s, mid 50s. Logitech, a tech traded swing when it broke the breakaway gap. I put it out there in the mid 70s. It went up to the high 80s. I think it was 80 what? About 86. Looks to me like 92 would be your next target. LPG, fantastic rising channel and it's an accelerating angle now, but it's had a mini 5-way move, so careful. But momentum could carry this near 50. NENOX, long downtrend. Hey, look, this was a great swing for us from there to there, but a long decline has taken it back from the 23 range all the way back into the under 5 range. But you can see the pop, flag, breakout, and flagging it above the moving averages. Next target 7 3/4 and 9. Nutanix, I believe hit a new high on Friday at 41.70. Overall chart looks fabulous. I think the next target will be a retest of the 44.45 zone. NXE breaking out to a triple top on Friday. I wanted to point that out to you. I have a target 7.5 and 8 3/4. OLMA, the beautiful rising channel. This biotech stock broke out here, retested, and worked its way higher. My next target is 19. Oscar Health comes out of a declining channel with a breakaway move, wedges, and pops, targeting 9 3/4 10. Impinge, a tech traded swing. Once it popped out and pulled back and started to go, we put a swing on it. It's moved from 57.8 into the 84.5 range. My target now is 89 and 98. Palantir, not a good week for this stock. Big reversal Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Friday, the stock was down and starting to be a little bit concerned about the way this is setting up. Although it holds 18.5 3/4, I'll still be good with it. PLWL, pop, pull back, we put a swing on it. It didn't really work well, but it eventually got to my target at 90. However, in the long-term uptrend like this, I'm not going to be shocked if this goes to 100 and then 120. Another junior semiconductor stock, Quick, broke out of a coil, popped the mini coil or wedge, and then exploded. Look at the move this has had from about 8.85.90 to 13, about 50%, and key breakout on this one. As you can see, it's at the highest level since 2019. It may very well see high teens before not too long. RAMP popped out, pull back, falling wedge, popped out again. This is a tech trader swing. I have a target 40. Roku is also a tech trader swing. It popped out, flagged, popped again. It's at resistance we get through here. We're looking at 110 and 120. Rover, breakaway, multi-month consolidation, breakaway gap, wedge, and pop. My extension target's 9.5. Rhythm, beautiful chart, long term. Recently broke out of a coil, broke the resistance, and tagged my target at 35. New all-time highs, I think, not quite. I'm looking for a test of the all-time high, comes in around 42, 42 target. The other shipper we talked about earlier, Starbulk, breaking out on Friday. I'm looking for 21, 22 and 3/4 and 25. SGD, recent IPO with a big explosive move and a pullback, now wedging. Really good OBV. I'll tell you what, this gets above 5.25, 5.5. The stock could go vertical to 8.9 again. Shopify, falling wedge, massive breakaway gap, beautiful flag, pop. Targeting 74 and 80. I saw another swing trade popped and pulled back. We put a swing on it. It took a long time to consolidate, but it held, and now it's breaking out. My targets are 32 and 38. SPRC, what a move on Friday. 18 million shares, up 43%. Coming up near resistance. It backed off. Got all the way up to 1422, finished 1065. That's my target now, 1415 zone if it wants to accelerate it. STNE, this is a tech trader swing as well. South American software company. At one point was in the 90s, backed out itself down into single digits. But now coming on strong with this breakaway move, rising flag. If it gets through here, next target is 16.5. Smith & Wesson broke out. We put a swing and then back to fill and it's coiling. 15.5, 16, and 17, 18 target zones. SYM, huge run, 8 to 60 some odd, and then a corrective coil. Breakaway gap last week. I'm looking for a retest of 65. TAL, beautiful Chinese educational stock, another 1, 2, 3, 4, and a big fifth wave underway, which might culminate in a move into the mid-teens. DGTX breaks through triple, quadruple tops and is moving up. There's a big gap in here to fill. Some targets are 15 and 19. TPST, a huge move. I mean, literally, this stock went from 20 cents to $10 in a day. So obviously, you're going to have a long consolidation, but it may be coming out. And look at the underlying technicals, as strong as this, something to watch. Watch for volume. Uber, what a move this has had just since end of October, about a month now. It's gone from 40 to 56. My target is 59.61. UEC in the uranium group, steady as she goes, looking for more, $8 target. UIS, this little stock at a breakaway gap, ran through the moving averages, ran through price resistance. Your next target is 6 and 7. VERX breaks out of a multi-month coil, pulls back. It looks to me like it wants to extend. The target is 31. VIST in the oil and gas group, beautiful long-term chart. Look at that. If it gets through here, target is 37. Veronis, I like this chart and this company. There's a gap right in here. It gets through it, 44 and 48.50 are targets. BRT, Vertiv, strong move from April, May, when it was trading in 12 range, all the way up into the mid-40s and flagging. Target 50.52. BST in the utility group, strong move through resistance, flag, pop, and then coil, breakout, wedge. I think the extension target is 40. VTEX, breaking out, extending, targeting 8. Wheat and precious metals, the largest silver purveyor, with an inverse head and shoulders breakaway move. I think the stock goes to 50, 53, 55. RAP exploded from $1.25 to $3.25 and then pulled back, it's flagging. Keep an eye on this one. I don't want it below 220.25. Above 330, I think 4.5 and 5 are targets. And Wave, long-term tech trader swing and moving up steadily, but lately coiling. I'm okay with that. I'm targeting 7. US Steel, as you know, has been on my list since it popped and coiled on a takeover attempt. I think it will be taken over in the high 30s, maybe 39. That's my target. XPEV, my favorite Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer, popped out and moved out. This is the highest level we've seen on this one for about 2 months. The key resistance, though, is 19.75. You get through that, looking at 22.3. XPO Logistics, my #1 favorite stock in the transportation group, and you can see why. Look at this long-term chart. Pretty amazing. Where's it going? Well, intermediate target is 105. Longer-term target is 145. YMM broke out. We put a swing on it. It backed up, but reversed. Still like it. Targeting 9 and 10. YPF, South American oil and gas stock, exploded last week, wedged and popped. Momentum could take this to 20. And that's it, folks. I'm going to spare the short side. I need a lot of work on it, but I don't think we're ready to be shorting heavily in this area. That's going to be it for this weekend. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. And please review this a couple times to get firmly situated in your mind what stocks you like and what the targets and support might be. But you can always ask me if you don't know. And so I will talk to you Monday. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye, everybody.